A first-hand UFO witness known only as US Navy X and featured in James Fox's new documentary, The Program, has just released a statement, and it's an absolute bombshell. Let's not waste any time, let's dive right in. And I quote, 16th of December 2024 for immediate release. Statement on the release of the program and the need for UAP and NHI, non-human intelligence, transparency. Over the course of a normal human life, the possibility of simultaneously doing the right thing and advocating for transparency on the most monumental issue facing humanity is rare. Rarer still is the chance of doing so alongside someone who has made it his life's work to push for the truth via those intricately connected to that reality. It has been one of the greatest honors of my life to work with James Fox and appear in the program to help him accomplish his mission of letting people know that truth, that humanity is not alone. To that end, I am releasing this statement upon the release of the documentary to clarify important matters and call for UFO, UAP transparency from the United States government. All the points I make below are demonstrably true, and I have been in a position either to know or validate these facts, both in and out of uniform. 1. Unidentified anomalous phenomenon, or UAP, are real. While some may be prosaic in origin, the United States government also has proof of UAP that can only resolve in assessments to craft and devices of non-human intelligence NHI origin. We do have the evidence, and contrary to some statements, it is verifiable. 2. The United States government, specifically the Department of Defense and the intelligence community, has high-definition footage of these NHI craft performing flight and transmedium operations that defy the normal physics associated with human-manufactured craft. I have seen such high-definition footage with my own eyes. Numerous briefings, pictures, and videos remain classified, demonstrating those UAP of non-human origin and are subsequently kept from the public and from science. That is both abhorrent and immoral. Such footage includes examples of NHI craft as well as transmedium orbs, some of which have been filmed not only in HD, but in full color in broad daylight. One such video, including those parameters, features an orb coming out of the water in the northern Persian Gulf and flying anti-gravitically before being joined by another such orb coming out of nowhere and then flying off while the first orb continued to be tracked. Both orbs had a white, shimmering plasma-like appearance with no sound, wings, rotors, or any other such features of human-made propulsion. Other footage features remarkably close and erratic movements alongside our national assets. In one such instance, relayed to me by a reputable, highly cleared member of the intelligence community, an aggressive orb forced a drone operator to take evasive action and match its descent and speed every step of the way on the drone's right wing before eventually zipping off. This was recorded in 4K resolution or better. Congress should demand that such footage be shown to them in hearings as well as released for the public record. Close approaches of Russian and Chinese aircraft to US aircraft are often released the next day, but these very revealing video files continue to be suppressed. 3. Members of Congress and some presidents have been lied to about these evidentiary materials and the very nature of our place in the universe for decades. They have been treated as temporary employees without a need to know, when in fact they are elected officials responsible for the oversight and leadership of the United States. Additionally, whistleblowers have been threatened, some with threats of arrest or harm to themselves or family members. Many want to come forward, and some have, while others remain afraid for themselves and those close to them. This must be rectified by Congress and a more transparent and supportive executive branch. 4. Congress must now do its part and hold substantive hearings with those involved in the DoD, IC, executive branch, and aerospace companies to hold those responsible for this concealment effort to account. While the aims of the greatest generation may have been done in earnest many decades ago, the time has come for our elected leaders and the public to know the truth about NHI, their activities on this planet, and any other related matter that can be revealed. Doing so will not harm national security. On the contrary, it will strengthen it. Not doing so will only increase the chances of strategic surprise from nation-state adversaries or the NHI themselves, and will harm vital U.S. interests as a result. The United States must lead the way. 5. Leadership in Congress should support the creation of a select committee on UAP NHI disclosure with subpoena powers in tandem with serious declassification efforts from the executive branch. It is time. This will be my only statement, and I will not appear in interviews or podcasts, as overall disclosure is more important. But I want people to know that I remain steadfast in my support for NHI disclosure behind the scenes. It has truly been an honor and a privilege to network and speak with disclosure proponents, witnesses, congressional staffers, and others dedicated to revealing the greatest development in human history. We are not alone in the cosmos, nor are we alone on this planet. The process of making this truth available to the public continues. U.S. Navy X. So just as James Fox explained in my podcast on the 12th, that on the day the program goes live, the UFO Navy X, the first-hand witness that was in his film, would release a statement. That statement was released, and I read it to you. Let's go over this statement a little bit. I'm going to cover some key points. U.S. Navy X wrote, "We do have the evidence, and contrary to some statements, it is verifiable." And that's interesting because that has been one of the things that I think various people have said over the years, whether it's been people that were interviewed like Scott Bray or Ronald Moultrie, or whether it's been people like Kirkpatrick, or even the current head of Aero, John Koslowski. There is no verifiable evidence of NHI, but U.S. Navy X is very clear. We do have the evidence. It's verifiable. Another thing he stated in the statement is, the United States government, specifically the Department of Defense and the intelligence community, has high-definition footage of these NHI craft performing flight and transmedium operations that defy the normal physics associated with human-manufactured craft. I have seen such high-definition footage with my own eyes. Numerous briefings, pictures, and videos remain classified, demonstrating those UAP of non-human origin and are subsequently kept from the public and from science. That is both abhorrent and immoral. He's right about that. If indeed he's telling the truth, he's right that keeping this away from 8 billion human beings is abhorrent and immoral, because we're essentially living in the Matrix, if this is true. Isn't that fair to say? Isn't it fair to say that we're essentially living in the Matrix if something this earth-shattering and paradigm-shifting is being kept from us that would change almost everything we see, shift how almost everything we see, philosophy, religion, spirituality, science, sociology, and more. So that would be abhorrent and immoral. Now, I remember from the film, the program, where I think he said, I don't know if this is the only places he saw this footage and imagery, but at least some of it he saw on JWIX and SIPRNet, which are secure networks that are cut off from the internet, that the intelligence community can have access to. So a hacker like Gary McKinnon, I think his name is, would not be able to access it through a computer because it's closed off. Another quote from his statement is, and I quote, "Members of Congress and some presidents have been lied to about these evidentiary materials and the very nature of our place in the universe for decades. They have been treated as temporary employees without a need to know when, in fact, they are elected officials responsible for the oversight and leadership of the United States." Well, you know, one thing that a journalist in James Fox's film, The Program, said, Brian Bender, to be specific, who was a journalist for Politico. I think he works for another company now. But he said it's like there's a government within the government. So you have the United States government, right, which is a democracy. But then you have people who are in control of UFO secrecy, and they don't play by the rules. And they do whatever they want to do without any oversight. And that's why he said it's like a government within a government. They lie to Congress. They lie to presidents. They lie to the public, the taxpayers, their countrymen. And so that goes back to what the witness said, that it's abhorrent and immoral. Here's another quote from his statement, and I quote, "Congress must now do its part and hold substantive hearings with those involved in the DoD, IC, executive branch, and aerospace companies to hold those responsible for this concealment effort to account. While the aims of the greatest generation may have been done in earnest many decades ago, the time has come for our elected leaders and the public to know the truth about NHI, their activities on this planet, and any other related matter that can be revealed." Well, we are in for some exciting times. From now until 2025, and then all of 2025 should be extremely exciting. We have a new president coming into office, President Trump. I don't get political on my channel. However, I do reserve the right to speak about any political leader and how it relates to the UFO issue. Now, interesting, very interesting. President Trump did I guess it was like a press briefing, and he's made some really extraordinary claims, and I emphasize claims because I don't know if they're true, but this is what he said today. He said, "The government knows what's happening. Our military knows where they're taking off from, or took off from," referring to the drones. He said, the government knows where they come from and where they went, and for some reason, the government doesn't want to comment. He goes on to say that our military and president knows, and that the government wants to keep people in suspense for some reason. Then he goes on to say, "I can't imagine it's the enemy. As if it was the enemy, they would blast them." And within his presentation, if you will, he said that something really strange is going on. Almost as if he was suggesting that it's not an adversary, but it might not be of human origin either. He didn't say that explicitly, unless it could be like some kind of private hostile actor. But then again, if it was a private hostile actor, wouldn't Trump have just said, "We can blast them too"? So it does seem that Trump might be suggesting that this is truly anomalous, at least some of these drones. It was a really weird segment. I saw it on the Forbes YouTube channel. There's always the possibility that he wants to make the Biden administration look bad, and he's not being completely honest. I really don't know, and I make no claims. However, some have said that these statements by Trump are an indication that when he gets into office, he will be very transparent about UFOs, and he will facilitate UFO disclosure. On the other hand, one of the journalists asked Trump and said, "Were you briefed on the drones?" And he said, "I don't want to get into that." So there might be some slight mixed messaging. It's like, if you're saying that Biden knows where these drones come from, the military knows, but they don't want to tell the people. Well, if you know, why don't you tell the people? You had the opportunity then. I don't have a good answer. And when it comes to political people, I'm just going to try to be as objective as I can and stay laser focused on UFOs because this is not a political channel. Let's cover one more portion of his written statement. U.S. Navy X wrote in his statement, and I quote, "Leadership in Congress should support the creation of a select committee on UAP NHI disclosure with subpoena powers in tandem with serious declassification efforts from the executive branch. It is time." So I know that Representative Tim Burchett of Tennessee has spoken a lot about the select committee on UAP NHI so that they could subpoena people and force them to spill the beans or there'd be legal repercussions. And then, of course, declassification efforts have been discussed in the UAP Disclosure Act that I think was instituted in 2023. Some of it got passed into law, some of it didn't. The UAP Review Board did not get passed into law, and that was a board consisting of various experts to determine what should get declassified on UAP, and then the president would have the final say. All of that very important. I will say that U.S. Navy X's statement is really interesting, and I think it's a sign of the times. I think things are only going to get more interesting, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. But we'll leave it at that. Please do not forget to subscribe. If you'd like to support this channel, you can check out my merch shop where I sell t-shirts. You can become a patron. You can become a YouTube member. You can give me a one-time donation. All those potentialities can be accessed in the description box below, or you could slap a like on this bad boy, and I'll appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Special thanks to all YouTube members, patrons, those that have bought merch, those that have given me a one-time donation. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.